Almost back, guys. Thank you for your patience. Please do me a favor, like and share this brand new stream. Help us get it back out there and get our 3,000 viewers back. Don't know what we did. Don't know what we said. But I gotta get Methods and Doug back in here. So stick around, we'll be right back. All right, gang. And we're back. We are back. Methods, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. All right, we are going to go straight into our guest for this evening, Professor Doug Belmore, because Doug is here as well. Doug, you are live on the air, my friend. Thank you for joining us, Doug, and thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you for helping us get this show back out. We do have nearly 1,000 people watching. Hopefully YouTube will send a notification out. I don't know if they did, but if we can get your help with sharing it so that we can get everyone back that was here before, I would really appreciate it, guys. Give me just a moment. I'm going to share this on Twitter. Baby Yoda says, just because I care. Thank you. Thank you, Baby Yoda. I appreciate that, buddy.
I love how I talk about staying on YouTube and doing all this, and then YouTube's like, no.
No, you're not going to.
Gotta love it.
Sorry, guys. It's taking me a moment to tweet out the new link because of my sliced finger. All right, great. 999 people are here. Looks like Doug is getting his microphone and headphones set back up. You got the notification, Christine. Good stuff. You guys, I think this is an excellent time to check and make sure that your notifications are turned on. You have to go to my channel on YouTube. Make sure you hit that notification bell, press and hold it, and then go to all notifications, because otherwise they're going to send you selective notifications. Cat Astra says, Team Punishdom loves Doug. Yes, we do. Camellia says, hi, Professor Q. Sweet tea. And Q the Music says, it's always a thrill to click like once more, or more than one time a night. If Google doesn't agree, we know you're doing it right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and just check something here on the stream health. All right, well, we're going to have multiple streams today. Maybe I'll have to put everything back together. Doug, can you hear me, buddy? You can, okay. Well, we just need to get your microphone back on. Cheryl Ann Infidelicious, welcome to the memberships at Red Pill 78. Catherine Good says, gotta love it. Thank you very much, Catherine. You guys, if anybody had sent a super chat previously before we got kicked off, and I missed it, I do apologize. Want to make sure that I give recognition to everybody who is helping out here, supporting the channel. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Methods is going to help Doug with his microphone. Set your mic like before. That's right. Zoom will change things on you. That's just what happens. Red Pill Doc says 3,000 to 1,000. Thanks, Screw Me Tube. That's right. That's how it goes. At least we're here right now, guys. I'm still grateful to be here with everyone. I want to say thank you to everybody who did come back after we got kicked off. Waiting for 1 million watching. That would be incredible. I don't know what I would do to get 1 million people watching, but Well, we were saying earlier, Gaffer Anon says, great lineup tonight, starting a new 12-step group called SBA, Sports Ballers Anonymous. Step 1, admitted we were powerless over sports balls and our lives had become unmanageable. That's right.
Oh, man.
And then we made a conscious decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of whoever the god of sports ball is.
Right. Red Pill, you got to come out with a sports ball T-shirt.
I think I'm going to. Yeah, I'll talk to Bree about that one. Trotter711 says, I'm very disappointed in the Huber report. Why all the Q posts mentioning Huber bringing justice when it ended up being a sham? What do you think is the real plan to bring the Clintons to justice?
Well, you're talking about the Horowitz report, right?
Horowitz report, yeah. Well, I think Huber was a head fake. I've said that for a while. And I do believe that the whole point was for Huber to gather evidence to give to Durham, who is running the criminal investigations. Methods, what do you think about that?
Wait, say that one more time?
I think that Huber was a head fake. Everybody was meant to look at Huber, okay? So they're thinking Huber's going to do this, then they find out Huber's doing nothing. And the whole point was that Huber was gathering evidence to give to Durham, who was doing the actual criminal investigations.
Right. I can agree on that. I think there's other things that he did work on, but they needed the Russian investigation to kind of happen. They were going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And so him just kind of waiting in the wings and gathering information, because as me and you dig in, and when you hear things that like Glenn Beck talks about and Rudy talks about, and how deep and intertwined this stuff gets, it's a lot of information, a lot of stuff, especially when we're talking FISA goes both ways. We're talking about 2 hop rules that can reach a lot of documents. So I think kind of like how Sessions laid the groundwork on the Epstein thing and other things that we are going to learn about.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Huber. I think there are some things that he's working on, but as far as him being the hammer, the stealth bomber, I can agree with you on that everybody was looking at him when they didn't even know to talk about Durham.
Exactly. It was a misdirect. It was a total misdirect. It looks like Chris Hawkins said that I did miss a super chat. Man, he says, that's it. I'll never super chat again. I mean, after this one. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the understanding. Then Charles Pixley, another good friend of the program, says, we know the mainstream media is totally Mockingbird now, and Big Pharma owns the U.S. health agencies and pays off Congress, who know nothing and do whatever they're asked. Why believe any of them about a pandemic now? I completely agree with you on that. My understanding of it is coming from reports directly from Wuhan and from people there. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but just enough to give me pause and think something more is happening there than what we're being told. Rich Knapp says, love your channel, RP. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that, buddy. And Flatlander also joined as a member. All right. Methods, are you working with Doug there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I've just told him to just talk in the background as he messes with things to get things back in line.
Okay.
So at random he might cut us off, which is fine. No, we can't. We still can't hear you, bud.
Yeah.
Like I said, go to your settings. Since I'll just go ahead and say it live. Go to your settings. Make sure that your output is set to, or your input on your microphone is where you want it, and do exactly what you did before that got it working before the show. And we'll keep talking in the chat here.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer if we can get it working like this again, Doug, because I think that people are very excited now that they can see your face. Hey, Matthew from Truth Not Fiction Matters is here. What's up, Matthew? Good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Let's see. So, didn't Durham's DOJ rented an entire floor in some federal building? Didn't Durham's DOJ rented off a whole floor in some federal building? I don't know specifically. Denise says, dance on the table naked. That will hold your numbers up, probably. Thanks, Denise.
Red Pill said he'll do that at 500,000 subscribers. So,
oh man, watch me just like rocket there in the next 2 weeks. Yeah. I think I'll have to start a streaming channel in a different platform before I get naked. Bearable Light, thank you very much for the super chat. And then Chris Lieb says, Huber looking at Clinton Foundation and nothing. Christy, I don't think that they found nothing. I think that information was transferred over to Durham. I think that's where all the indictments are going to come out of, because we know that he's been convening grand juries. That stuff is real. We know all of those indictments are real. We know that the largest per capita for those indictments is in Washington, D.C. This is going to happen, guys. This is going to happen. It's all about timing. It has to happen at the right time. Evanos Rev 2220, welcome as a supporter, and I do appreciate that. Let's see. I suppose worst case scenario, we could have Doug call in on his phone and just be on video with us. That would work. Georgia Patriot, you missed my super chat. Let me see. Georgia Patriot. Code Monkey Z says very sophisticated and expensive attacks have been coming all day. Deep state panic. I did see that. Let's get Doug back in here. Here he comes.
Yeah, I told him to sign in and out to get that going. But no, that was right. He said that there was deep pockets on the attack.
Yeah.
That's been going at 8kun throughout the last 24 hours or so.
Ooh, Tukala Kulmala says Finland in the house, 3 o'clock in the night, 3 a.m. Where we go one, we go all. Glad you're here.
Mic
Finland.
check, Doug.
Doug?
Still not there.
No. Cat Astra says Durham is the boat who is carrying this all. Here, Doug, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the link to call in on your phone. Stay on video and just call us on your phone. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the link to call in on your phone. Stay on video and just
He's still got his audio. Turn off the stream, buddy.
Yeah, turn off the stream.
He's still got his audio.
Okay, he just disconnected. Let me send Doug the link. Oops, that's not it. Okay. Messages. There you go. Doug, if you can hear us. Charmaine says, love you, Red Pill and Methods. Listened to Qniversity earlier. Hope Doug received my PayPal. God bless all. Where we go one, we go all. Trump 2020. Shane Lewis also says, I heard they found Hillbilly's emails. I'm certain that they have those emails. I don't think that there's even anything to worry about there. They've definitely got those emails. All right, guys. What happened to my finger? Zach, I sliced my finger open making breakfast this morning. Yeah, it was no fun. Mother Knuckles says, thanks for keeping this old broad informed. Glad you're here.
Right.
Yes. Elliot. It's my
Hey, at least it wasn't like the middle finger, so you didn't get that whole spirit cooking conversation going.
Oh, Lord. Yes. Plus, it's on the wrong side. It's on the wrong side, too,
right.
for that.
Well, I want to thank everybody. We thank everybody for hanging out and dealing with all these technical difficulties. This is my first one that's happened with you, Red Pill. I've watched you go through it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, at least it didn't happen to our show. Well, sure enough. So still click that like button. Let everybody know this fresh link. And we're glad, hey, we got about 2,200 almost that's made its way back over. So,
Doug,
good.
1 second. That should be your phone right there. Hello, Doug. I can hear you hitting the buttons.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can. Well, this will have to suffice, I guess, right?
That's fine. Right. It's working. It's working.
We can see you. We can hear you.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know. I've done everything we did before.
Not a problem, Doug. Well, listen, long story short, I'm glad you're here. It's good to see your face, and I know the audience is very excited that you're here, too. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, too. Is my voice loud enough?
Yeah. I can actually...
Okay.
I can turn it up a little bit, and let me see, advanced audio.
Yeah, chat, give us a 5x5 if he's sounding good.
Yeah, is that okay?
I can hear you fine, but I got you in headphones, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
by the way,
nowhere.
it was a bloody mess, the audio before. It was getting like 3 layers of voices echoing, so here we are.
Very
let's
strange.
Let's talk about the puppy behind you because that's adorable.
Yeah, you've got 3 dogs there. I just noticed all 3 of them in the
back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 dogs here. I know we're all dog lovers, right?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. What are the dogs' names, Doug?
Angel, Dutch, and Zoe.
There you go. My cat's actually named Zoe, but she's the devil, so I'm sure yours is great.
And I have some dog biscuits right here in case they get out of line. I can put them up.
All right, well, that'll work.
Love it. Love
I'm
it.
very happy to be here with you. I'm just shutting the door back here.
Oh, that's no problem.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so, gosh, I was listening to your conversation, and I wanted to reflect on what you said, but I'm kind of scatterbrained all of a sudden with all the tech problems.
I understand. Well, you know, I was actually wondering if did you plan your video for today because the Oscars are tonight? Because
that worked out quite well, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, I feel more and more compassion for them every day. I don't know. I think they're really lost souls, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Well, they're definitely on the forefront because they are the entertainment. They're the laser pointer for the lost. And so there is going to be a more head-to-head problem with them. So I'm glad that you're paying attention to it.
Well, every time I watch an old movie or television show or something, I'm just struck by a Q subject, MK Ultra, whatever, and things are less entertaining and less funny.
It's really too bad how that works out. I feel like I cannot watch film in the same way that I did before because it's the same way. I'll see like a hidden meaning or something that they've snuck in there, and and it just, or I know about a director or a writer that worked on the film, somebody that has done some bad things, and that's all I can see.
But I think it's a good thing. We need to have light. We need to go from dark to light. We need to know the truth. And I keep thinking about history and how it will be taught in the future, and it will be more complex and genuine. What did you think of Joe M's most recent video, "The Best Is Yet to Come"? And we got some real American history in that speech.
Oh, I definitely had something in my idea in that for sure. It was definitely a well-made video talking about history. It's going to have to be a full-blown overhaul because a lot of the history, and you've talked about that in your videos about stuff that you've had to teach or been told to teach that wasn't truthful or not right or manipulative even. There's an overhaul that needs to be a reset, not just from now, but even before all of us were even born.
Yes. And I don't know, how does one go to work day after day knowing that one is teaching lies? I feel sorry for the people that are just satisfied with their sinecure and they think, well, I'm getting a paycheck, so I'll go ahead and regurgitate this nonsense. It takes a toll on the soul, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, what do you think's going to happen, Doug? I mean, do you think that they're going to be willing to go back and rewrite history? Are we going to learn the truth about this stuff? Or is it just going to be from this point forward, we're going to have to start telling, our history in a different way?
I trust that Q has a plan, don't you? I'm sure this has been addressed already.
Mm-hmm.
Amen?
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I think us all also making content, and we are recording history in real time for future generations.
Yeah, I red pill every day. Today I talked to a young Marine, and and very quickly he was on board. And yesterday I got somebody on board very quickly. But I've noticed one thing: if people are anti-Trump, they're going to be anti-Q. Yes,
absolutely. Real quick, Chris Hawkins said, "Come on, RP, you were clicking too much, bringing us the real. Love you, brother. Thank you very much." And FTW Champs, friend of the program, says, "Happy happenings, friends. Thanks for keeping it comfy."
Yeah, hey, buddy.
Good to see you here. So Doug, tell us what's been going on, man. What have you been up to? I mean, how long ago did you decide to start making videos? And what are you seeing for this in the future?
Well, if I can be very honest with you, it wasn't my choice. Maybe a mutual friend suggested I do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I did try looking for work, and I even applied for unemployment insurance benefits with the state of Arizona, but they're corrupt just like everybody else. They wouldn't even contact me, Wow. I contacted the state attorney general and said my civil rights were being violated. They just wrote back and said, no, they're not, and I never heard from them again.
Wow.
So our mutual friend suggested, why don't you do this? And boy, it's very exciting, but I want to tell you, I was terrified to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I listened to you, I listened to Methods, and you guys know what you're doing, and frankly, I think, well, what the heck do I have to contribute? But I think if we're genuine, we all have something to contribute. We have different points of view, and different backgrounds and different strengths. So I'm just going to be honest and genuine.
Well, you're doing a great job so far. I mean, each one of your videos, it's an excellent format. You've got a very polished intro and an outro, and you are very comfortable in front of the camera. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you've been talking in front of people and teaching for how many years? I mean, decades. So I really feel like it was a very natural fit, and I was, extremely pleased when I learned that you were going to start making videos.
Yeah, I was very nervous about the idea at first, but then I thought, well, our mutual friend said, you've been teaching, just pretend you're talking to a class.
Yep.
And then it becomes very easy. I never felt uncomfortable in front of classes. And I didn't realize I was as honest as I was. Yeah, I love truth, Red Pill. I know you guys do too, and I know that's why we're here. It's all about truth, and it's a great age we're living in. I'm excited to get out of bed every day. I heard you saying that you were excited about every day, and I am too. We have no idea what's coming, but we know it's going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, the whole idea, Doug, of what you're doing does fit what you're doing before fits exactly what Red Pill's been doing and other great YouTube channels has been doing for a while. It is bringing information and expanding on it. And so once you find your way, and it's great, to be comfy, lack of a better word, the idea of doing it your way, because people want to hear different opinions. You really can't, you can be wrong about facts, but you can never be wrong about your own opinion when it comes to how you feel about things and expound on things. And so
you bring up a really good point. You can't be correct about all the facts. This has kind of troubled me, but it doesn't trouble me anymore. We can't know everything. There's only a handful of people on planet Earth that really know the big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So, go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, yeah. What I was getting at is that even when people were trying, for months talking to me about doing the live stream thing and the talking and putting my voice out there, I had that same thought as you. I was like, I don't know everything. People might assume I have a firm grasp on every Q post or I'm close to it. But I'm riding the wave just like everybody else. And I just learned putting my spin, like how I feel about things, my 2 cents, and doing the best I can and verifying to the best of my ability, and then taking care of the fellow people around us. I think you're a perfect fit for what we need, people like yourself going forward.
I feel very blessed that I've been allowed a chance to be a face and a voice. It's a real blessing. It truly is. I did contact, or a professor contacted me this last week. We've been emailing back and forth and are going to do a show very soon. I hope more and more people come out of the closet. This psychologist in Australia who just got canned, right?
Yes.
Just for speaking truth. I got an email at my former college. Do you know that I still use my email at the college district where I was fired? I get a real kick out of that.
That's
so
great.
I go in there and I bash people and I'm using their own email. It's really good fun. And anyway, I get to read the stupid emails from the faculty there. And when Greta was in the news a few months ago, psychology professor had a very simple email. She said, "Go, girl."
Oh man!
And these are, I compare her to that brave warrior in Australia who stood up and just had his livelihood taken away from him. These are the people who get rewarded. They're just low IQ, yes men, sycophants. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Doug in the chat, God's daughter says, please have the professor contact the Pacific Justice Institute. They are a not-for-profit legal defense team for just such things as this. So we'll say that again, the Pacific Justice Institute, something to look into. Because
I would do so if it would help Q. I think right now I just want to be committed to Q. I live a very simple life. I don't need much, and if it would serve the cause, great. If not, I wouldn't do it.
Well, in my mind, it's about the justice of the situation, okay?
Yeah.
It's not okay that they've done this to you. I mean, in a way, and I said this in a private message, in a manner of speaking, they have set you free because they've allowed you to kind of join this movement in a different way than you were before, which I think is a beautiful thing. However scary it might have been for a period of time, I mean, like, you made it through, bro. You are here with us now, and now people are out there looking for you.
Something has changed greatly because the New York Times wrote an article about QAnon today. Did you see this? And they did mention me, and the fellow who wrote the article, he contacted me maybe a month or two ago, and I didn't write back to him because it's the New York Times, right?
Right.
And I was really surprised that he didn't bash me with ad hominems. It wasn't the most favorable article about QAnon, but it also wasn't the worst.
What did he have to say about you in particular?
Oh, he just said that I was interested in supporting the president and the Q movement, and I thought, yeah, great, thank you. Hope you do the same.
Good stuff.
And I was really surprised to see the Washington Post headline the other day, Trump acquitted. Weren't you shocked?
How are they going to spin that one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth framing for sure.
Huh? The Daily Mail bashed me, but yet constantly they produce articles that are very pleasing to us in the Q movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're really going after traffickers and things, so something's changing.
This, we were speaking about this at the beginning of the show. There's been a turning of the tide. I mean, we're at the point now where, the Washington Post, they can't spin the president getting acquitted. I mean, how are they going to do that in an unfavorable light? It's been, just hit after hit after hit, and now all of a sudden there's nowhere for us to get hit. We're the ones who are hitting back. God's daughter says, "Oh, I'm a Q and a teacher. Please protect my future and contact them, Professor. See what they say." And this is what I meant about justice. It's not just for you, but it is for anybody else out there, anyone in a profession who might feel that their livelihood is in jeopardy because they want to talk about their support of the president, their support of truth.
What I see is a state institution being commie, When I contact the Arizona State Unemployment Department and they don't do business with me at all, I just see a commie state-run department. Is that the problem? Socialists have taken over everything? Anti-American socialists have taken over everything?
I mean, that's what it seems like. I am so incredibly surprised that they would. I mean, by all rights, you are legally owed unemployment if you've been working there.
Yeah, but communists don't think that way, do they?
No. I didn't know it was that bad in Arizona.
No, I didn't either, but I think if we look closely, what I've seen again and again is I've seen leftists using their positions, their jobs to hurt people.
Yes.
It happened to me a lot in this college district where I've worked for the last 10 years. I sent you an email today and said I suffered many misfortunes, and a lot of it came from people who were getting paid really fat salaries by the college district. Shame on them. They should be going to work and doing their job, but they want to further their socialist interest.
Right, and it's very surprising. I mean, even for all of us, a lot of us, I don't know about you, Doug, in particular, but we've been paying attention and looking at things and questioning stuff, some of us for years, decades even.
Me too, yes.
Right, so, but even all the research that we were able to do, or even the ideas of how bad it is, Trump gets elected, you have a Q movement startup, the Democrats start showing their evil side and stuff, and the next thing you know, the lights are turned on, and you're like, wow, how embedded is this socialism, this, the communist stuff, like how embedded it was already in our society. And
you mentioned the dark years that preceded Trump, and I was shaking my head as you were talking. They were terribly dark years. I'd given up hope. I guess many of us did. So we need to thank God for President Trump and Q every day.
I totally agree.
So bright.
Absolutely in agreement. And I think that people like you are going to be extremely important going forward because, I think the reason I asked that question earlier about rewriting history, I mean, we're going to have to tell it in a different way. From here on out, everything that's happened is going to have to be reported. This is going to go into the history books. We're going to have to raise our children in upcoming generations and teach them about, this great moment in history. I mean, can you imagine opening a history book and there's a chapter entitled The Great Awakening?
Yeah.
Taking
How about the
our
title
country
of the book is The Great Awakening?
Yes.
Well, that's
President Trump's speech might have been indicative of what's to come. It was really radical and revolutionary what he did the other day, don't you think? Talking about Harriet Tubman and talking about Annie Oakley and talking about Theodore Roosevelt and, I don't know, just people that we don't think of normally when we think of American history, but they're great Americans and they truly do exemplify America.
Oh, absolutely. And the idea, that's what I think of about the future when Q has said, archive offline. what's the point of that? Not just, internet going down at a particular moment, we don't get a website, to look at for a while. It's literally archived for the future. And we're going to be handing off hard drives to our children and the children's children, and handing, the think about all the memes and all the jokes that are going to be in a folder that's going to be passed on for decades and stuff. All this research, all this work has been archived, and it's going to get passed on, and it's going to help write the history that's supposed to be written and fix, because this is going to be the most pinnacle time 50 years from now to look back and say that was the fight, that was what was going on. And that's why I'm so grateful to be alive and a part of this in whatever capacity, because we get to literally be on the battleground every day.
Yeah, you think of World War II and that generation and how proud they were, but they didn't permanently defeat the Nazis. We're the ones who are going to do that.
Oh,
right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to look back and think about how they were integrated into, our army and our scientists and the intelligentsia, and then you ask the question, who really did win World War II? I mean, it's clear to me that it wasn't us. And now we're going to have to be the ones that are defeating them.
Amen.
Yeah. I just need to say a couple of thank yous here. Cybernut from Maryland, Cybernut4 from Maryland says, great man on Comfy Sunday. Doug, Methods, RP78, thank you. I follow you all. Western Maryland is growing in the Q movement. Q said tonight, justice. God bless. Absolutely. And then Hey Jude says, hello to 3 of my favorite Patriots. Thank you very much, Hey Jude. And Mike Vassell says, George News is rewriting historic events via their YouTube channel. Are any of you familiar? I'm surprised no one mentions them. Original Anonymous.
I saw something on George yesterday that struck me. I don't recall what it was. It was about history.
Is that like George as the George magazine that was JFK Jr.'s magazine?
Yes.
One and the same? Okay. I believe someone sent me a video from that channel, but there was multiple channels, and I wasn't sure which one was the official channel. Maybe it was like one was a backup channel and one was the original channel. But no,
it would be appropriate that George would be introducing history, because it's my understanding that JFK Jr. majored in history in college.
Yeah.
This was his passion, no?
I'm not aware. I don't know what he majored in. I
saw it in a documentary.
Yeah.
A&E documentary.
That would make sense. I didn't even know that George, like as an organization, was still around. I thought they had folded.
Not to throw anybody under the bus. I mean, follow who you want, by all means. But the George, like, I mean, they're on Twitter and stuff like that. There was a lot of them trying to intertwine themselves with 8-Kun's revival, the birth of 8-Kun, and even 8chan right before it went down. I mean, the JFK Jr. is alive. They had a .com link to their stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're doing, but they literally set up an email account that made them look like they worked for 8chan. And I reached out to people that worked there, and they were just laughing about it. So I don't know.
Are you giving us a heads up about that Twitter account?
I'm just telling you what I've seen, and I just don't follow them. So the whole idea of they're putting new stuff on their YouTube channel, I just don't know. If there's things that kind of become like curious, I just don't pay attention, and I do other things. So I don't ever want to call out a channel. That's probably the most I've ever said about any channel on a live stream. As just what I saw happen with it. It was just very curious, and I'm going to go ahead and shut up now before I say too much.
Well, I thank God you're speaking up, because we don't know whom to trust, right? It's difficult. It's very difficult out there.
I mean, one of the reasons that I never speak out on anything, is because I don't ever want people to think that I am some type of arbiter of truth. I mean, like, maybe a channel or an account says something that doesn't resonate with me, and maybe I just don't like the direction it's going, or maybe sometimes people say things that I think are completely false and misleading. But I really want people to be able to come to those realizations themselves and to see things and, think about something. I mean, have an honest look at what this person is saying, because there are plenty of those LARP accounts out there, plenty of people who are going to say stuff. And it's very important for us to be able to discern, what is, true from what's false. And it's unfortunate because people are in a position where they want to believe. They've been lied to for so long, and they might see something and they're like, that is, everything that I want to be true in this world. And then it turns out to not be. But privately, I might talk with people about stuff like that, but I don't want to, I guess I don't do it publicly just because I feel like there's too much at stake. I mean, I don't want people to say, Red Pill said this, so therefore, this is what's, the, absolute truth. I'm very careful not to put stuff out there without categorizing it as, research or, my opinion or, what I would like to happen. But, it is what it is. I need to say thank you to Doc Rena. Says, I'm an ER doc waiting for a letter from the Texas Medical Board, just like the doc in Arizona. They hold our licenses over our heads to keep us in line. That is awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
To tie a bow on what we were just talking about, because there's some other things that we're going to get to before we end this tonight. When people like myself, Red Pill, Doug, any of us, any of your favorite accounts put out information and it's not backed up by evidence, you should always question it. It doesn't matter who it is. Go find it. Take the moment. If you don't have time, that evidence will find you. If you just keep, paying attention, somebody's going to break it down. Give it time. You'll get there. But as far as that's why I know Red Pill and I especially, and I'm sure Doug feels the same way. We don't want to lean you towards anybody that's bad or unverified or anything of that nature. So I personally stick to the idea of I don't push people towards really anybody, because I want you to make your own. If we're pushing a movement that's supposed to be thinking for yourselves, making your own choices and standing firm in your beliefs, but allowing to have debate about beliefs and stuff, then who are we to tell you who not to follow? There might be some nugget of truth that somebody I don't personally follow hit, just that red pill that explodes and takes you to that next level. So keep doing what you do, sift through all information, but decide for yourself. And if anybody endorses anybody, it doesn't matter. There's still going to be that day-to-day putting out information that you always still need to verify if it's not being presented as verified with good evidence.
Yeah. Somebody says I need water. Somebody said look into the carnivore diet. I mean, I'm assuming that's a keto diet, but I don't know why you're bringing it up on this program. It sounds a little off topic. I did want to say thank you to Rich. He said he loves the channel. Thank you, Rich. And then Social Observer says interview Patrick Howley. He's doing God's work. I have interviewed Patrick Howley before, Social Observer, and it's very possible I will have Patrick back on the program in the future. But go look through my live streams and you'll see my interview with Patrick Howley. Oh, what happened?
Knock it off.
Hey, buddy, it's okay.
It's going to happen, right?
Yeah, it will.
I have doggy biscuits here.
There you go.
Before we drop it, it's such a deep subject. Could we talk about this a moment more?
Sure.
About being accurate. Nobody wants to be incorrect. Of course, you want to state what the truth is. Could I just be very bold and say, Red Pill, you had interviewed somebody before, and I was a big fan of this person, and I followed this person closely, and then somebody whom we both admired gave me a heads up about this fellow and said, you shouldn't be following this person. It's difficult. I just want to stress that one more time. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem is, as you pointed out, it's emotion, right? We're not entirely logical. We get wooed, and we start to feel emotion, and we think we feel lovely feelings, and we follow those. But we know the deep state loves to play on our emotions.
Yes. It is, and then, another thing that I started doing is I started putting a disclaimer before each of my interviews, letting people know that, the views of my guests do not necessarily reflect my own views 100%. You know, everybody is unique. They've all got their own spin on things, and I want people to use discernment more than anything else. You know, you listen to the content of what a person's saying, and just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean that that person is now somebody that you shouldn't follow or that you shouldn't, you know, look to. Or I mean, this is a more interesting world because we all have a different spin on things. Thank you, honey.
Shout out to Red Pill Girlfriend.
Shout out to Real Red Pill 78 Girlfriend. Love you.
And I don't know, I have one other thing on my mind.
Yeah.
Visual evidence. I made a video and I said that I wish that I could offer concrete, cogent proof of, you know, trafficking arrests and things like this. And I understand, you know, we can read numbers. I've always told students to try to focus as much as possible. If you talked about tens of thousands of people dying in a war, it's hard to envision tens of thousands of people. But if you focused on one child suffering in that war, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then if we had a face to attach to it, a name attached to it, an identity, it's more persuasive. And I'm just wondering if maybe one day Q could do that, if we could have a face attached to the it's difficult to the trafficking movement. We see scumbags arrested and we read about a lot of numbers, but after teaching for so many years, I understand that people love a strong visual concrete proof. You know, they love a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I'm just wondering if anything like that will ever come along.
Well, you're hitting it on the head, because the biggest problem that us as a movement, we talk about all these things, you know, the trafficking, you know, all the sinister stuff, the evil things that'll probably get us demonetized here. So I'll try to avoid.
Oh, we're already demonetized. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, all the stuff that's the evil stuff that we research and have figured out and all that. Having a face definitely helps, because then you can wrap your head around it visually. And I do believe that we're going to get to a point, because, you know, if we want to take Q at his word as far as the truth about Haiti coming out, you know, that's going to be a big thing. And you got to think about the faces that are already attached to that, not just the Clintons. You got Hollywood. Hollywood made such a big deal about supporting Haiti and all that money. Where'd the money go? Yeah. You know, they're still screaming in the streets about that. So no, I agree with you. I think we will get face, but I think it'll be faces, and I believe that it'll be, you know, connections of people that people like myself, you, Red Pill, are going to make sure history remembers. Yeah. When this stuff comes out.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Is I want this to be written in stone in some ways. You know, whether or not it's on my channel in the future. I mean, I know that copies of these videos are going to be someplace else, and you know, I mean, we are opening eyes, and we are allowing people to start looking at things from a different perspective. You know, so I think that other people are going to carry this, and the what we're seeing is exponential. You know, I mean, like, it goes from here and it continues onward.
Amen.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Now, Doug, we've had several people asking, you know, what happened? Do you want to give the audience just a refresher on the situation, explaining basically, you know, what happened? I mean, for anybody maybe who joined us late or were unable to catch you the first time you were on the show.
Yeah, okay. I live in Mesa, Arizona, and I've taught for many years at different colleges. I never advanced in my career because I'm not a deep state tool, you understand? Mm-hmm. And just to give you an example of that, I've been on interviews for full-time tenure-track positions, and I was asked, how do you feel about the New English, that spelling doesn't matter? I objected, and, you know, the interview was over. All I saw in hiring for years now is open borders sycophants get hired. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's been the name of the game, is if you're pro open borders, we're going to hire you. And then also they want all the other pro libtard stuff. But so anyway, my dad died just about right after Trump was elected. He was very thrilled about that, but he didn't get to see the inauguration. And he was out in Wisconsin, and I moved my mom out here to Mesa, and she became very ill. And all I cared about was taking care of her. And I took this adjunct position at Mesa College. And I'm telling you, I got hit the minute I got in there. I never had bad student reviews, and I was getting them left and right. I had troublesome students. I had a chair who was absolutely ridiculous, who would observe me constantly and give me really negative reviews, even though she doesn't have a degree in my field. It was really bad news, and I couldn't figure out why. My mom died this summer, and when the fall semester started, I really can't give you an answer why, but I decided to show Joe M's The Plan to Save the World. And it was a shocking thing to do. I didn't know it was going to happen, but I taught 2 classes, and at the end of my second class, a Phoenix from a local paper busted in. I think he's connected to the Washington Post. I went and checked the Phoenix New Times, and I think they're related. And anyway, all the media started bashing me. It didn't make any sense to me. I got no support at all from the college. And, something deep in my soul, I think, knew I was leaving teaching. I don't understand. I thought, I can't take another semester of bullshit. I don't like the people that I work with. I think I'm not kidding. I'm not just being jealous or envious. I really didn't respect them. When I would get emails from them, they couldn't put sentences together. And they're all about anti-Trump, pro-open borders, and anti-Constitution, and I mean vehemently. So I don't know. There was something deep in my soul saying, I think something else is in store for you. And anyway, I got hit pretty hard, and I'm very shocked that it all happened. And then I just couldn't make a living, and I don't know if you know what happened to me, but a friend, without my knowing it, had started a GoFundMe for me and changed my life. And suddenly people were giving me money and love and support. And that's when a mutual friend of ours said, why don't you do something to repay? And he said, how do you feel about Qniversity? And I hope you don't mind my saying so, but most of this has been his idea. Maybe you know who I mean.
Yes.
I don't think he wants me to say maybe.
Okay.
But it's kind of obvious. He's a beautiful human being. And also, when I showed the plan to save the world, something, I want to say the still small voice. I want to say the Holy Spirit told me, you listen to everything this man says. And so I have not argued with one word that this man has said to me. And so he said, start Qniversity, make videos. So I did it. And that's where I am now. And I think I've trusted the still small voice of God, and that's why I'm here talking to you today. And I'm not talking to 100 students. We've got far more than 100 students to talk to. And let me tell you how sad it is semester after semester to go into classes and to tell students you can write whatever you want, and they come up with the same half-dozen bullshit topics. Open borders, you got to have vaccinations, we have to have transgender bathrooms. They just regurgitate whatever they've been told, and it's really heartbreaking. I think it's gotten worse over the last few years. And I blame television entirely. The students that were the most troublesome could not write well. I can tell they watch the late-night comedians, and that's where they get all their information from. So thank you for letting me tell that, but I just think that it is not up to a man to direct his own steps, as the Bible says. And here we are talking, and I don't think it was my doing. I believe God's hand is involved in everything about Q.
Absolutely.
Well, the best path to choose is when you know you're led by God and you don't know where the path is going, but you know each step is the right move. Yeah. So no, first off, I don't want you to stop making videos. I watched your first couple, and then I was excited to see you drop the third one on the day we have you here. And I watched them all again, back to back to back. And it's the kind of stuff, and I'm just not blowing smoke because you're a guest and I'm not trying, just to promote you. It's the kind of stuff I want to listen to as somebody that's been in this movement for a while, especially because just the idea, it's calming. You're hitting points that I would talk about. You jump points because my mind jumps too. So I like the idea of where you go with your videos, and you're going to find your way. You're 3 videos deep now. Red Pill a year ago. What were you doing that's different than now?
Oh yeah, so much. I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised at how polished you were from the get-go. I mean, like I said earlier, you're comfortable. Most people have to find their way before they make videos that look and sound as good as yours. You are so naturally fit for this movement. And, to be able to use your God-given talent in the way that you are and reach people in a different way, far greater number of people than you were before, and people who are going to be way more receptive to what you have to say.
Yeah, amen. That's a good point.
One of the most frustrating things for me in college, not only in undergrad but in grad school, was when, you're asked to write a paper of some type. The professor will give you the exact way and structure and the content, everything that you need. Just write it in this way and write it well, and you'll get a 4 point. And people would push against that. I don't want to write it that way. I don't want to listen to what the professor has to say. The professor wants me to think about it in this way, and I refuse to do that. I'm like, okay, you are relegated to getting a 2 point at best. And, it's so frustrating to see people unable to open their minds up. And, maybe they just want you to think about things a little differently. Maybe there's a reason that you are being asked to perform the task in such a manner. And now you have an open and willing audience of participants, people who are very interested to get things from your perspective. And Methods is right. You're creating content, which is the type of content that I want to watch. There are so many people out there making videos, and when I roll up on something that I really, really enjoy, it's very special.
Thank you, friends. It's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Well, I really believe the truest thing in the world that one can do when one is creating, one is writing, is to be genuine, to be honest. Arthur Miller, who wrote Death of a Salesman, said that the best writing occurs when the writer is on the verge of embarrassing himself, always. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that. I think if people write about what they care about and they take a chance to be vulnerable and human, you can't help but be good. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, coming from a place of genuine, like I know I try my best to be, and that's how that's why I gravitated towards Red Pill, because he's definitely one of the most genuine, not to discount anybody, but we realized quickly that we really care about this stuff, like more so than the average bear. And we gravitate to that idea of genuine, and we see the same thing in you in the first couple videos and talking to you. So the idea of going in that direction. Now, is there anything else, Ripple, you want to talk about real quick? We've got 20 minutes left here.
I think we hit on all the things that I specifically wanted to talk about. What else do you have, Methods?
Well, yeah, I wanted to, because I watched your videos today, because I realized I was kind of like, of course, I'm listening to the stuff you're talking about, and I'm very aware of a lot of things you were talking about, Doug, but I noticed how passionate you get at certain subjects. And one of it is obviously, media itself, the mainstream media, the idea of manipulation through propaganda, through, just overall stuff like that. I'd like to know when did you realize that you were passionate about the idea of manipulating people? And because you hit it such early, and I know I'm kind of dancing around here. We can't, the chat will agree with me immediately. We can't watch Hollywood anymore. We can't watch mainstream news anymore and not start pointing out things and literally talking out loud at the TV and debunking in real time. Like, what about it makes you so passionate about
I don't recall exactly
media?
when it happened. It might have been 10 years ago. Can we go there?
Yes.
I had the feeling that our mutual friend didn't want me to focus on specifics, because a lot of people are really loved, right? If you go after everybody's favorite Hollywood celebrity, they might shun you and shut you out. But if I could, I was in Tucson 10 years ago, and an event happened there, and it concerned my college. I was working at Pima College, and it woke me up. I knew it was a false flag. You want me to be specific, or should I just be vague?
Well, use your own discretion here. We keep things open here, but no, by all means, we want Doug.
May I be frank with you then? Because it caused me so much heartache over the years, and I got really tired of the lies. It was the Gabrielle Gifford situation in Tucson in 2011. Woke me up. I knew it was a false flag. If you want me to be specific, I will. I learned about a lot of powerful people, Nazis that are here in Arizona and in America, and it's the truth. And why can't I speak the truth? Maybe it was about then I realized that social psychology is the name of the game. I thought game theory runs the world. You've got some powerful people manipulating the world like a chessboard, and it has to be social psychology. You can move the masses with television and with the slogans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I became so passionate about it, because I thought, gosh, you make a movie and you can control the masses. You make a TV show, you can control the masses. And one thing that really struck me, I teach the logical fallacies. Q tells us to think logically. And I've learned that the most powerful of the logical fallacies is the bandwagon appeal. It's peer pressure, right? It's giving in to the mob, the masses, and nobody wants to be left out.
Right.
And I've been struck by many works of literature that talk about laughter. There's this short story by George Orwell called The Hanging, and he's a British magistrate in Burma, and the Brits and the Burmese hang a local Indian man, and he's a very low-caste Hindu, and nobody really cares about him. And, you know, George Orwell's just being frank. And at the end of the story, the Indians and the Brits are having drinks together, whiskey at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're laughing. And he says the word laughter over and over and over. And I really believe that our foes in the deep state, they love using laughter. They love this bandwagon appeal, right? That 11:30 slot at night with Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or whatever, people are half awake, they're laughing, and they hear over and over that Trump's an idiot, and it sticks with them. So
Right.
I don't know when it struck me, but in the last 10 years or so, I really realized social psychology was the name of the game.
So you see things like when you see the manipulation, you're going to bed at night, you're hearing Orange Man bad, any of his policies, his supporters are bad, but everybody's laughing, so it's supposed to be great. You go to bed. You wake up the next morning, turn on local news, and it's murder, suicide, virus, pain, destruction, and all that stuff, and it's setting you up. It's keeping you in this constant state of
From
not
literature,
panic.
I learned that the devil loves laughter. I think devils love to laugh. And I remember in James, you know, we were told, why are you laughing? You should be weeping. I mean, life is very serious business. We're here for a short time, and we have to make the right decisions, and yet these idiots, these cool guys in Hollywood are constantly telling us to laugh. When you look back at the old Hollywood celebrities, I think of the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis, and those guys hanging on each other, laughing, whispering each other's ears. It seems like the big thing was to be in the know, right? They're putting they've got a big joke. They're pulling on all the stupid sheep, and they're in the know, and isn't that cool? Yeah, I just think most people want to be in, and they want to laugh, and they want to be part of the group, and the deep state has manipulated this, and
they figured out how to put, you know, the front of their shop, that if you buy into what they're selling, you get to be a part of that, of the world.
You feel included. It's all about inclusiveness. C.S. Lewis wrote an essay at the end of World War II called The Inner Ring, and he said, what will make most good people do something bad is a desire to be in. You think about that. That's horrifying.
Right,
you know,
especially when they're controlling the narrative.
Nazi Germany, nobody wants to be excluded, and the deep state loves to play with this. Did you ever see that movie, The Eyes Wide Shut, with Tom Cruise?
Oh, yes.
And it was very tragic and dark, and it was all about his wanting to be in with this elite group, and how it's an icky movie, huh?
Right.
Very, very. I just need to say, Baby Yoda says, please tell Doug that all these folks here in the chat think he is a fine fellow, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can definitely second that. And then Chris Hawkins says, thank you, Father, so much for so much. Thank you.
I wonder if we can use, Q loves to use the deep state's tools against them, right? The numerology, the symbolism, even Q, didn't it originate with the bad guys? It was flipped on them.
Who
made that gravesite in the shape of a Q, and et cetera. I wonder if we can use laughter against them, if we can start laughing at them and getting people to want to be in our group laughing at the bad guys.
Well, that's where you get like the memes, the, you know,
Yes,
comfy
exactly.
Sunday shows, the joking around. You know, that's why you see people trolling Nancy Pelosi. Even our congressmen have been trolling Nancy Pelosi over the acquittal. Like, we're literally, it's exactly what you're going to see, and it's a culture that we're creating, because that's what we want. Like, yeah, we dog and we joke, and we're better at it than them, and we do it at them. But as soon as you step to our side, you know, we protect our own, and we have no problem flipping that switch real quick and protecting somebody that wants to be informed and in the know. But we are the best, and I say we as in our side, if we're looking at good versus evil, we're better at it than anybody when it comes to using laughter.
They've taken over comedy.
Right.
You keep bringing up the meme. I think the meme will win the war. It is what will communicate with middle schoolers and people who are half awake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
do you have a favorite meme from Q?
I see probably a couple dozen new memes that make me crack up daily from the
and some that are
anods.
horrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but we're so desensitized at this point on the horrifying side. I mean, I don't know if you ever spend time on 8kun, but we definitely see some things. And so you get this because when you're focusing on the goal of what you're trying to do that day, and that's to find the truth and get it out there, you kind of scroll past things that 10 years ago you would be dying inside.
Yes.
Seeing. You kind of can deal with it a little bit better now because you understand what's at stake.
Some of those bits we've seen on the board, they horrify us and they stay with us, but how do we present them to the world? I mean, it's hard for me to verify it. What's the source, right? And yet it sticks in your mind. I recall seeing many pictures of Ray Chandler and
rough. Yeah, it's definitely rough.
It's a tough one. I mean, the thing is, for those reasons right there, I think that it is important to still incorporate laughter into everything that we do. I mean, clearly we've had all these things used against us, and because of how dark it is and how difficult it can be to reconcile those things in our minds, you know, I mean, like, we still need to be able to have the laughter between us and you know, be comfortable. And that's, again, you know, that's part of the program.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we'll always keep doing that. That's why I'll take times to tweet out things that I find myself that, you know, I laugh at myself and I hope other people enjoy.
Yes.
You know, Red Pill and I, when we have our private conversations, there's always joking around, digging. And Doug, you see it too. I mean, I'm sure you crack up a bunch reading, you know, the boards and seeing Anon banter
memes. Yeah.
Yeah, or even the banter back and forth and just text that happens on 8kun. It's so brilliant that it makes me it definitely allows me to know that there's definitely more creative people out there than me, and I can strive to be better because of the creativity, the soul memes and people of this world, the iPots and what they do is so it's incredible, and I'm so grateful they're on our side.
Absolutely.
May I add, speaking of visuals, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks that Fox Patriots are dropping Qs here and there. Have you noticed this? Lou Dobbs had a Q in a video that he did on Brexit, and I saw Tucker Carlson had Donald Trump Jr. on, and he was wearing a Q pin. Did you see this?
No,
Laura
I did
Ingraham
not.
supposedly, was she the one who went on the boards and said, I'll be on in 5 minutes?
Now that one's hard to argue with because I was there on the boards when that happened, and then 20 minutes later, sure enough, she was there. Now the pin argument, I don't know, because there's a pin you could buy that has a Q on it, but then there's a pin that looks just like it.
Yeah,
so,
but wouldn't that be very wise to do it so subtly? So we'd be scratching our heads saying, well, it could be a Q, it might not be a Q.
Right. They had
so
it
wasn't
on
there a Marine Twitter, U.S. Marines or U.S. Army Twitter maybe a few months ago, and it looked like there might be a Q on the backpack.
Yeah, they had the patch with the Q, the helmet with the Q that Trump was signing, the Fox and Friends hat with the Q in the background. Yeah, I hear you. It's there, it's subtly, but you don't ever know if it just happened because it is a part of the alphabet. You know, you don't know when it's going to show up. Just because.
I don't know. I think any thinking person has to say, wait a minute, I'm seeing this a lot now. Yeah.
Right. No, I agree with you. I want to believe that it's always there just to suddenly wake people up, because I do believe.
You think there are many people, say in Fox and elsewhere, who are getting on board?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what Waters said on his show, that even his friend harasses him almost with what Q's doing. I mean, he said that on air to primetime television on a weekend. I mean, I do believe so. I mean, we've talked to people in media. You had Kerry Porch on from CNN. Red Pill had him on, and he had people that he talked to about Q there. So yeah, there's definitely conversations about Q. It's definitely popular. They just know to not. There's a time and a place, I believe, to where Q is going to be such a topic because you can't avoid it anymore. More so than writing mainstream media articles denouncing us.
I just need
I'm looking forward to that day.
Right.
I just need to say God's Daughter. I dropped that link for you in the chat, but it's virtualshield.com/redpill78. Rich Knapp says, Doug is a new bright spot. All three of you blend together really well. I really enjoy this. Thank you very much. I certainly do myself. And then Pink Panther says, Oscar's reading of indictments. Yeah. At a certain point, this is going to break out, I mean, the press is going to have to start covering it and in an honest fashion. Many of these people that are holding it back at these major mainstream media outlets, I think that they're probably going to be removed from the equation. And hopefully it's going to be people like us that are going to, be blessed with the responsibility to bring this out in a major way. I mean, we had many people earlier in the chat saying, Doug, that you should write the book, The Great Awakening. And I could totally see that happening.
Actually, I think that you should write the book Red Pill and Methods. I really trust you. I think you're the journalist. You're the ones who are documenting everything well. I thought the best thing that I could contribute is something like a video essay and just be genuine and try to rely on what I really know.
Oh, absolutely. But I think an opinionated, though, book or even an ebook, even shorter, that's about things going on, I think that would be, I would read what if you did it, just to be honest with you, if you wanted to put it in the word.
Where would you begin? I like to think historically, chronologically. At what point do you start? Do you go back 100 years? Do you go back 500 years?
I think you work with the idea of the autist and you go all over the place and let the person think for themselves.
Yeah.
Cool.
With
somebody today had written online, she said, I homeschooled and my son was autistic, and I wrote to her and I said, well, an autist is a very positive term with the Q crowd, so great.
Yeah, it's a compliment.
Yeah, it is. And thank God. There's one more thing that I really despise about the social sciences and education, how they've stigmatized so many people, telling so many people that they're broken when really they're just original thinkers.
Right.
Exactly.
No. Hey Jude says, Hannity sometimes wears the same pin. It's not a Q, but I forget what he explained it to be. I think, does Hannity wear a Secret Service pin? Is that what that is?
Yeah, he said it was support of them, and then he's got a CIA pin of support. I don't know. I that's one of those things, like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me move on a little bit until we see, like, the left freak out about a Q pin. Because if it's really there and blatant at times, then we'll run with it.
Haterproof says, can you see yourself on Fox News reporting live every day, a network that is as large as Fox News is? I don't know. At this point, it is only a glimmer in my eye. But if that was to happen, then, obviously I would, I think I would run with it. I think that would be really amazing. But it's only going to happen.
Thought 5 years from now, Trump said the mainstream media will be bust in 5 years.
Yep.
What do you think that will look like?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe this will migrate to to a much larger platform, and we'll be able to have that truth being spoken on a daily basis. Certainly, it's going to look a lot different from what it is now. Well, Doug, we've got 2 minutes before the top of the hour, so I want to give you the last words. I want you to tell people where to find you and how to get in contact with you in every way that you would prefer.
Well, I have a Twitter account, and I also have the new YouTube account called Qniversity, and I have my emails listed there, and I can get direct messages at Twitter. And I want to thank you so much for welcoming me, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I really just am about ready to start really telling the truth. I think with the videos, what I'll do is I'll tell the truth, and I'll let my friend review them, and if he thinks some bits need to be snipped out, he can snip them out. But I really think on a first draft, just go for it, right? And for my personal ideas, I think I want to just be as frank as possible. And then we can cut later. If they want me to take out the stuff about the Gabrielle Gifford shooting, I'll take it out. But I got to say it, didn't I? I think it's a false flag. Thank you.
There you go.
I believe it. I believe it myself. All right, you guys. Well, listen, I want to say thank you to everyone here in the audience for joining us. Thank you for the patience in dealing with the technical difficulties. I need to say thank you to Connie Crowley and Chris Hawkins. Chris says MAGA will turn into MEGA, make Earth great again, make Earth godly again. I can totally see that happening. And then especially thank you to you, Doug. for being the strong and intelligent person that you are, for sticking through and seeing all of this to the end. I'm so happy that you are here with us now and able to join us on this program. And I'm glad that you're now making videos and you're able to put your thoughts out there into a different platform. I see a bright future for you in many different ways, because there's nothing that I would like more than for you to be able to be successful and continue to do this, because your perspective is invaluable, and I highly, highly prize it.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you to both of you. I really admire you, and may we see people speaking truth, and you know, what's more glorious than speaking the truth?
Not
Absolutely.
much more. Methods, as always, thank you for being here with me on this program. You're my best friend in this movement, buddy, and I could not be happier than to spend a Sunday night with you and the 3,000 other close friends that we have in this movement right now, you guys. All right. As always, this has been Red Pill 78 and Methods.
And Methods. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Red Pill, for doing this, and thank you for everybody sticking with us. And just stay tuned. We're coming back next week. Another great show.
All right, guys. Tune in next week at 7 p.m., and we will see you here. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.
God bless.